It's just not true that for the same work, women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. Factors such as college major, occupation, and length of time in the workplace explain most of the pay gap. And now researchers have discovered yet another factor contributing to that gap that's coming up next on The Factual Feminist. Hi, I'm Sally Satel, visiting Factual Feminist and resident scholar at AEI. Economists have shown over and over again that when you control for relevant differences between men and women employees, the wage gap narrows to a very small amount. The new research shows that another variable shrinks that discrepancy even more. This additional variable is overwork. An overworker is someone who regularly works more than 50 hours per week at his or her job. This has nothing to do with putting in overtime or working more than one job. Overwork is typical of people in medical and legal careers and in finance and managerial positions. Two researchers, Young-Ju Chu at the University of Indiana and Kim Whedon at Cornell, have paid careful attention to it. The two were puzzled that the gap between male and female earnings has persisted even as more women were entering the workplace, graduating from college, and delaying childbearing. And this is where overwork comes in. For one thing, the pay is better for a 50-plus hour work week. The corporate world places a huge premium on long hours, and so doubling one's work week far more than doubles his or her salary. Second, and key, overwork is more common among men by a ratio of 2 to 1, and that ratio has been stable for at least 2 decades. Women are less likely than men to enter jobs that require extremely long hours and less likely to stay in such jobs. I'll note here that the authors found no evidence that men who overwork were paid more than women who do. Wage gap activists are aware that women work fewer hours overall and that this explains part of the gap. Their solution? Change the workplace. Why not make the workplace work better for everyone, they say, by discouraging overtime and workaholism? Here is the Clayman Institute for Gender Research at Stanford. It says, we need to redesign workplaces so that they are better aligned with the lives of the people who work in them. Well, yes, accommodations within reason make very good sense, until they say, quote, performance should no longer be measured by how many hours employees put in, end quote. This logic seems to be, if men and women, but especially men, were less hard driving, then men and women's pay would equalize, and we would all be happier and have a better work-life balance. There's a surface plausibility, but think about it. Anytime you restrict the freedom of one group to equalize outcomes, the cure ends up being worse than the perceived disease. Just remember Title IX, which led to the cutting of male sports teams while female teams went underpopulated. And practical questions. How would a truncated work week actually operate in a neutered workplace? In journalism, for example, reporters cover stories and beats for more than a few hours and days at a time. Law firm and financial clients want to see the same faces handling their cases or transactions. And in medicine, we want the same doctor who knows our medical history. You just can't hand off your clients and patients as if they were widgets. And when you do, mistakes happen. Are men who overwork and women who don't just following a socially sanctioned script? Well, this may play some role, but here's a question. Is overwork really a problem? I grant you that being forced to work at a job you hate is hell, and the fewer hours the better. But for a creative or entrepreneurial person or someone on a mission, work is exhilarating. And in business, law, economics, science, art, literature, passionate people drive discovery and innovation. As the factual feminist herself has said, no one ever won a Nobel Prize on flex time. In summary, working over 50 hours per week relative to the standard 40 hours plays a role in the gender pay gap because such jobs pay better and because men are more likely to have them. As for the myth of the wage gap as evidence of employer discrimination against women, this study puts another nail in its coffin. Are you an overworker who earns more than your peers? Let us know in the comments. Then please subscribe to the series and follow me on Twitter for more. Thank you for watching The Factual Feminist.